right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Live stream Bible study students. We're grateful to be here one more time for our Pure Word Bible study live stream. Thank you for chiming in with us. Uh, we are back in session and all that good stuff. So if you're on here, please go ahead and share this live. We are using our textbook, rather, where our Bible study material is coming from, Sabbath and its resistance. The author is Walter Bergerman, or Bergerman, or Bergerman, however you want to pronounce it. So we're using his literature, and we're dealing with the Sabbath and its resistance. So we kind of looked at last week. So we'll kind of recap a little bit of last week. Like I said, we're not going to rush this study. Take our time, delve into it, get a good understanding of it. Then hopefully and prayerfully by the end of this study, it's only 6 chapters. And like I stated, next week, depending on how far did y'all get. Anyone get done with chapter 1? Almost. So by next week, we should be through with chapter 1. All right, so we're going to be in chapter 1 again next week and finish that up. And then as we get into rest of the chapter 1 is basically, you ladies and gentlemen, live stream viewer, it's just setting the president. It really wasn't no base scripture for us to follow, nothing like that. He pretty much just setting us up for for Yahweh, what he wanted about the Sabbath, how the Sabbath came, and all that good stuff. Then as we get into chapter 2, you notice there are going to be some scriptures. Okay, and so what'll help us is that we'll read those scriptures, and those will be our background scripture to help us go along and give you a heads up, because some of you are saying, I guess, they will start saying, hey, Pastor, this book is very difficult. But up there in the top, you'll see very top of your paper. Do you see something to say like Sabbath and the second commandment or something like that? First commandment? Yeah, okay. So he's letting you know right there on that page is what we're going to be dealing with. Is we're going to be dealing with the Sabbath and the first commandment. So tonight we're just going to be dealing with the Sabbath along with the first commandment. Okay. Come here there, Lo. Work that cheeseburger off you had. Did you have a cheeseburger for lunch? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I see it. It's stuck in your ear. Give everybody one for me. All right, so it's as the little junior deacon is passing that out. Just keep that with you as we kind of go along through the study. All right, so the first commandment knows thou shalt have no other God. But before we get to that to the lesson, let's recap on last week when we talked about the Sabbath, and we knew the Sabbath was what? Huh? Yeah, made for us, and knows what it means to rest, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw last week how that God wanted us to rest. Do we see though, as in this narrative, how important it is that God wants us to get some rest? Mm-hmm. Thank you, there, buddy. You're a good man. I don't care what Sugar Mama said about you. So do we see the importance of why God wants us to rest? Why y'all, as we read this narrative, why do you think it's so important that God wants us to rest?
He rested.
Yeah, he rested.
You can't function.
Can't function? Can't function. Anybody else?
Rejuvenate your mind.
Huh?
Rejuvenate.
Yeah, rejuvenate your mind. Okay, because huh?
Spend more time with him.
Yeah, spend more time with him. Okay, because we saw in the narrative that on the 7th day, God what? He rested, didn't he? So we learned that our God, or we're gonna do like Bergerman, Yahweh, is not a workaholic. Okay, he's not a workaholic. He just don't go. He don't take energy drinks. I can remember we're in a society now where you got to have energy drinks just to keep going.
For real.
Yeah, yeah. Because of the production, because of society, because of the economical system that we have, that they want production out. Like we talked about last week, that Sabbath was like in our home, stores was closed. Uh, you couldn't go shopping. You couldn't do nothing. You stayed at home. You rest. But now, since the economy system is want more production, we're open, right? 8 o'clock, we're open. Used to be time if you were a Christian and a church goer, you had no problem because most of the time, the stores was closed. Okay, so we give kudos to Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A says I don't care. They give her a hard time because she shuts down on Sunday. She said, I give my employees that time. And I read the article on her. She made a commitment to God that God, I'm going to give this day to you. What I can't make in 6 days won't be made. And every time you go to Chick-fil-A, the line is round the corner. It's in the street. They're the most. They're the most professional restaurant. Just about they outbeat McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes. Don't you know that you cannot become a manager or a franchise with Chick-fil-A unless you first work there? Yeah, you just can't go in and say, "Oh, I want to be a franchise." No, you got to work, and then even in management, you start from the bottom. You just don't go in and say, "Oh, I want to be a manager." I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So you can go get a McDonald's. You got enough money, buy your franchise, get a McDonald's, but not Chick-fil-A. Have you worked here? No, well you can't get a franchise. Okay, so we saw the importance of the Sabbath, and that's kind of what we set in the stage for in this chapter 1 is the importance of Sabbath. We saw how that the Israelite worked and they worked and they worked, and now we're going to look at tonight. We got to understand these people. They didn't know what a Sabbath was, right? Because Pharaoh upped the quota on them, didn't he? We worked them until they had calluses on their hand. He worked them day and night. And then Walter Bergerman said something. I didn't think about it. Pharaoh worked them like that when he had time to sleep.
He did. He did.
You know what I'm saying? He couldn't even, I didn't even think about that. You working them so hard, you can't even get no rest.
If you think about it in the physical realm, that Bible been talking so doggone grouchy. And I used to say it funny, but
well, yeah.
when person had no rest,
Yeah. Oh.
grouchy, you irritable,
Woo.
you make
Grumpy?
grumpy,
Yeah.
you make mistake. Am I snitching on somebody?
You're the cameraman back there. So if he don't get no sleep, you talking about grumpy?
Nothing to eat.
Well, if he'll get nothing to eat, if he was a slave, if you didn't feed him and he didn't get no rest, he a grumpy slave. So it ain't lying. He came home to the house Sunday, and my wife said, "Mr. Grumpy with me." And I said, "Well, come on out here in the garage, sitting in the 8-man corner with Mr. Grumpy." He hung up on me. So I go in there to the side and say, "Hey man, wait, Mr. Grumpy." He went to sleep. Then when he woke up, he was a different person, wasn't he? I think he got some sleep. So you're right, man. So if no rest, you grumpy, man.
Yeah.
So that's true. So we saw that he worked them, and I always say this to one of my coworkers. I said they're gonna work you, and work you, and work you till your back go out. And we saw that, man. What did he say? Don't give them no straws. Don't give them no more bricks. Let them go hunt for their straw. Let them go hunt for their bricks. Yeah, he said. And then he said double the. He doubled the production, right? He
Cut it down.
No, he said that I'm not even reducing production. And then what he said, I think what we read last week, he said it's in Exodus 20. Y'all remember? Fine. We don't want to make it up. Let's look it up. I think it's Exodus 20. And what did he say? I know he said about that it was lazy.
They were slackers.
They were slackers. Can you tell Moses, why are you here, distracting them? Let these folks get back to work. Okay, is Exodus 20? Anybody? You gotta look in the Bible.
Yeah, just one.
It might not be 20.
20 is the 10th.
Okay, 20 is the 10th commandment, isn't it? Okay, uh, let's see here.
I think it's 6. Like in the book, it said in Exodus 5, we are given a passionate narrative account of that labor system in which Pharaoh endlessly demands more production.
Okay,
Somewhere.
it's in 17 to 19. So it would be Exodus 5, 17 to 19.
I think it might.
Is that it? Someone got the Bible real quick? Exodus 5?
Be 5 and 4, because there in the book it say, why are you taking the people
Yeah, that's it.
from their work? Get to your labors. Exodus 5 and 4.
Okay, read that for us. Somebody.
Exodus 5 and 4
Yes, ma'am.
says, the king of Egypt said to them, Moses and Aaron, why are you causing the people to neglect their work? Get to your work. Pharaoh also said, look, the people of the land are so numerous, and you would stop them from working.
Keep going. They say, like, where's he go? He said, we want to find out, did he double their production? Or he said he's not going to reduce it?
Said that day Pharaoh commanded the overseers of the people as well as their foremen, don't continue to supply the people with straw for making brick as before. They must go and gather straw for themselves, but require the same quota of brick from them as they were making before. Do not reduce it, for they are slackers. That is why they are crying out. Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Impose heavier work on the men. Then they will be occupied with it and not pay attention to deceptive words.
Okay, so he just said we're not going to reduce it. Yeah.
You got to go find your own straw.
You got yeah.
But you still got to make the same amount of brick.
You got me same amount of brick.
So, in other words, he is increasing your per diem. He is increasing your workload.
Because you got to go hunt now.
You got to go hunting.
At first you didn't have to do nothing. They brought it to you, but now you got to go hunt for it.
And now you've already tired. Now you got more time.
And I'm going to expect the same out of you.
Exactly.
Okay, so they was under some great pressure. Okay, and then we saw how they cried out to God. So long as they was in slavery, they cried out to God, right? They cried. Okay, we are the only nationality or ethnicity group of people that can relate to slavery. Okay, in America. And as long as we was in slavery, we couldn't vote. We couldn't go to restaurants. What else we couldn't do? We couldn't drink the water fountain. You had to the bathroom. You couldn't. They had white pies and black pies.
Didn't get an education.
Yeah, you couldn't get. What's your show names? How much it cost turning them white pies into a
Life.
Yeah, life. Yeah. So, but as long as those things was upon us, we depended on God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't care what nobody say. We depended on God. We looked to God. We were a strong people of faith. We believed in God. We trust in God. We worship God. But as soon as God gave us some bootstraps, not before he even gave us some boots, he said, as soon as I give these Negroes some boots and give them some bootstraps, and they start pulling up their own boots, they ain't gonna need me. Yeah, they ain't gonna need me. And God, and it's the same Walter Burgerman, but not in this book. He talks about, and I quote, that God knew by letting them go was a little risky, because he knew the minute I let them go and have freedom, they're gonna forget about me. So he said, I know as soon as I let these black folks go and they get a taste of freedom,
They ain't gonna act right.
They ain't gonna act right. Right? We got more than our ancestors had. Some of we got more than our parents had. God has blessed us over here in America. But when we look at America and you look at us, we still got to realize we're still people of the way. We still believers. We still need to look to God, to depend on the God. And a lot of stuff would just stop if we turn and go back to God.
Amen.
Okay, and we're gonna see tonight. You know, when I look at my nationality of my group of people, okay, I'm like Paul. I was called to the Gentiles. I was called to the Negroes. And when I look at the Negroes, I'm just telling you, I was called to the Negroes. The Lord ain't gonna let you go to the Caucasian or the Hispanics. I'm calling you to the Negroes. But they stiff neck Maxwell. Okay. And so, but when we look at that, and y'all know, I preach that, I tell you that. We got to come back to God. We got to come back to God. God wants us to be blessed. He wants us to have those things. But God said, don't forget who I am. Okay. And so now as we come across, now we're going to look at the Sabbath and the first commandment. And what's the first commandment?
No other God before me.
You shall have no other God before me. Little g, little gods. So if when we read in the book, and we'll read here in a minute, Moses goes up to the mountain to talk to God. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He go to the mountain, he's having communion with God, he's talking to God, and they said, it sure taking Pastor Moses a long time. Y'all, where he at? I don't know. He's sure been up there for a minute. So we're gonna read it. I'm gonna read it to you. Live stream. If you're watching us, you still with us. If you ain't doze off to sleep or cooking your supper, we're gonna look at Exodus 32. Exodus 32. Maybe a little lengthy reading, but I kind of want us to get the gesture of it. It's in Exodus 32. When the people saw that Moses delayed in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said to him, come make us gods for us who will go before us, because this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. Aaron replies to them, take the gold rings that are on your ears off of your wives, your sons, your daughters, bring them to me. So y'all take off your ring. Y'all love wearing gold. So people took off the gold rings that were on their ears and brought them to Aaron. He took the gold from them, fashioned it with an engraving tool, and made it into the image of a calf. Now, y'all look, keep number 4, because we're gonna see something in a minute. What Aaron does. The text says, the narrative says, he took, right? He took he took the gold from them, fashioned it with engraving tool, made it into the image of the calf. Who made the image? Aaron. Aaron. All right. Then they said, then Israel, these are your gods who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. Man, ain't that something? When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of it and made an announcement. There will be a festival to the Lord tomorrow. Early the next morning, they arose, offering burnt offering, and presented fellowship offerings. The people sat down and eat and drank and got work. And then what they do? Got up and went to party. Boy, they all cutting loose now. Boy, they got food, fellowship. They had an offering. Now they party. And they got drink. They got the margaritas. They got they vodka. They got everything. They having a good time. The Lord spoke to Moses. Go down at once for your people. You brought up the land of Egypt, have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned from the way I commanded them. They have made for themselves an image of a calf. They have bowed down to it, sacrificed to it, and said, Israel, these are your gods who brought you up from the land of Egypt. The Lord said to Moses, I have seen this people, and they are indeed some stiff-necked folks. Now leave me alone, so that my anger can burn against them, and I can destroy them. Then I will make you a great nation. But Moses, being a pastor, sought the favor of the Lord, his God. Lord, now, why does your anger burn against your people now? Now, you brought them out of the land of Egypt with great power and a strong hand. Now, you need to think about this, Lord. Well, now, why would the Egyptians, or why should the Egyptians say he brought them out of this evil intent to kill them in the mountains and eliminate them from the face of the earth? Turn your furious anger and relent concerning this disaster plan for your people. Remember your servant Abraham, Isaac, your servant Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, which was Jacob. Remember his name was changed. You know, like no longer be called Jacob, it should be called Israel. And he said, you swore to them by yourself and declared, I will make your offering as numerous as the stars. So it's going down 14. So the Lord relented concerning the disaster he said he would bring on the people. So Moses go and Moses come down, y'all. Then Moses come down. He got the tablet in his hand. Verse 16, the tablets were the work of God and the writing of God's writing engraved on the tablet. When Joshua heard the sound of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, this sound like, man, they in war. They must do some real serious partying. So there must be a war. But Moses replied, no, don't sound like a victory cry and not the sound of a cry of defeat. He said, I heard the sound of some singing. And as he approached the camp, he saw the calf and dancing. Moses became enraged and threw the tablet out of his hand, smashing them at the base of the mountain. He took the calf they had made, burned it up, and ground it into powder. He scattered the powder over the surface of the water and forced the Israelites to drink the water. Then Moses asked Aaron, now, Aaron, what did these people do to you to have you lead them in such a grave sin? A grave sin. You ever say a grave sin?
Crazy.
Serious sin.
Terrible.
I don't know if you ever heard of the phrase of grave. We heard of all kinds of sins. You know, I sinned, but this was a grave sin. Don't be enraged, my Lord, replied Aaron. Yourself know that the people are intent. Know what? No evil. They said to me, make gods for us who will be before us, because Moses, the man, brought us up from the land of Egypt. We don't know what happened to him. So I said to them, you know, whoever has gold, take it off. And they gave it to me. Then Aaron said, when I threw it into the fire, man, out came a calf. Now, come on, Aaron, you made the calf. You designed the calf. But he's going to say, well, just pop out came the calf. And so then when if you finish reading, Moses tell them, who out on the lower side, come over here. And then they said, come over here. And then those who was on the lower side, he said, go take a sword, kill your brothers. So they went through and slaughtered thousands of people. Wipe them out. Because it said, who's on the lower side? Come on over here. So just that quick, many of them have turned on the Lord. What's the difference today in us? Brought us out. Now we got a little bit more education. I don't believe in God. Grandma took me to church, but I don't believe in that. Y'all know some people.
A lot of people.
Now all of a sudden, they don't need God until they're in trouble. So the first commandment was, you should have no other gods before me. But y'all want to know something that's interesting? Before Moses even gives them the 10 commandments, they agreed. They said, whatever Yahweh wants, we gonna do it. Whatever Moses, I ain't told y'all what he want yet. I ain't went and got, thou should not do this, thou should not do that. Remember, I ain't went and got, that's why, hey, whatever Yahweh want is better than Pharaoh. So we agree, whatever he say, we gonna do it. Then say no to come down, Moses gone too long. They done took the gold, they done took the silver, and now they done made a god. They done made a golden calf. And then he already told them, you should have what? No other gods before me. What are some gods in America?
Our jobs.
Our jobs? I tell you what,
Oh.
give me the most three powerful God. I want y'all to really think about this.
6 power.
Yeah, you said it, Mission. Money, sex, power. Live stream, we said it. Money, sex, and power is the most powerful God. All that they got was from what Moses had passed down, right? So in the book, let's go here. I left my book with all my notes, so y'all forgive me. So on page 6, I guess would be 6. It's on my iPad, it says 6. The second commandment is closely related to the first commandment, okay, against graven image, idols. Is prohibited against any artistic representation of Yahweh. For such representation would serve to locate Yahweh, to domesticate God, and so to curb the freedom that belongs to this,
37 in our group.
okay, erupting God. All right. Such image have the effect of drawing God in imagination and in practice away from that word I'm trying to get, covenant, relational fidelity, and back into a world of objects and commodities. The temptation to produce an image of God in artistic form is always everywhere a chance to produce a commodity out of volume, material, at best gold, if it's available. Okay, then he goes and he says, when gold is fashioned into a golden commodity or lesser material, the divine subject becomes the divine object. Okay, then he talks about and an agent becomes commodity. We may cite two obvious examples of this temptation in the Old Testament. First, in the narrative of the golden calf. So we saw the golden calf, right? Then, but let's go down to your paper there, and it's going to talk about that Solomon's temple design. He designed Yahweh house, right? So somebody read that. Tell us all the fine stuff that Solomon put in Yahweh's house. It says the interior. That's where you'll start.
Everything is gold.
So scripture say everything. Everything was going. It said the interior of the inner sanctuary was 20 cubic feet long, 20 cubic wide, 20 cubit high. He overlaid it with what? Pure gold. Not platinum. Pure gold. Not what they call y'all, what it's called, nickel. Nickel free with none of that. Okay. Lord forgive us. Lord forgive us. He also overlaid the altar with cedar. Solomon overlaid the inside of the house with pure gold. Then what he do, y'all?
Through chains of gold across the front of the inner sanctuary. Overlaid with gold.
Then it said next he overlaid the what? The whole house.
Gold.
Like the scripture said. And the whole house laid with gold. No doubt that God was pleased with that, because he made the house. But Bergamon brings our attention to investigate something. So Solomon made all the vessels that were in the house of the Lord, the golden altar, the golden table for the bread, even the bread that you set it on, it was out of gold. The lampstands, y'all, was made out of pure gold.
Cups,
Yeah,
the cup, the snuffle, the basin.
the basin, everything out of gold. Frying pan.
There's too much gold.
And look at this. The sockets for the doors made out of gold. But I want to say something before we go a little further. Do y'all know the reason in the biblical times why they spent a lot on God's house in biblical times? They spent a lot on God's house because God said, I would what? Dwell. Right? He said, I would dwell. I would dwell in the house. You build me a house, I'm going to dwell there. But I believe that, like Walter Barthelmont talks about, so much gold and all that now, that I think they worship Solomon temple more than they worship God.
But then God tell him how to build a temple.
That was Moses.
Yeah.
When he told Moses to go and to build.
Looking at it like maybe
He told Moses, get this cubit, go get this, go get that. He told Moses how to build it.
follow it. Follow
Huh? Yeah, how to build it. 'Cause remember, David wanted to build it.
Your hands were bloody.
His hands was bloody. So David said, what I do then, I help finance it. Now keep in mind, this was Solomon's temple. It was a beautiful church. It had everything. But do you think maybe they worship the temple more than they did God?
Possible. Yeah.
We do that now.
There you go. That's what I want to get to.
Worship the God and creatures.
We worship the sanctuary more than we worship God.
And not to be negative. No, go ahead.
Now you go ahead.
And not to be negative, we worship the messenger.
But yeah, for sure.
Worship the message.
That's true. That's true. But you go to some places and you sit in there, you just like, wow. You just looking at all this. Preacher tell you about how good God is. Wow. Stained glasses. Wow, the acoustics. God is good. Wow. You're more infatuated with the brick and the mortar. And people today worship the building. And I believe maybe, just maybe, that's why God said, I ain't gonna dwell in buildings no more. I'm gonna dwell in you.
Well, we build them we build them when they distractions.
But is it possible? He said, hey, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna dwell in. I mean, we know that we dedicate them to Him. We dedicate the building to Him. We say this is where, and the only reason the Lord is here now is because we here because He dwells in us. So we know this is not Center Ridge. If we met at the Holiday Inn in the banquet room.
like Brother Frank said, but we build them now with a distraction.
Right.
It's like now they have all those, what they'll call those big walls and everything.
Yeah, additional walls, lights.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's like you're in a big
Right.
ray or something,
Yeah.
all that stuff flashing here,
Yeah.
flashing there,
Yeah.
all the, lights going and,
Yeah.
so
I was at one place, I was watching one show on TV, sister. They had a fish aquarium. They had an aquarium they built in there was over 25,000.
Yeah. I went to a church in Dallas.
Just for the aquarium and the fish. It was over $25,000.
I went to a church, had a big aquarium in it, ain't gonna say the name of it, but they said because they think we're fishers of men. So he had a big old, like I said, I'm not thousands of dollars. But I'm just trying to get to the point though, is that no golden image. And so I think sometimes we can overkill with our sanctuaries
take the focus.
and we'll take the focus off of God. Because I've been to some. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't really listening to the preacher. I'm listening to the sound system. I'm looking at the big old digital board, your face all on the digital board. I'm looking at, I know we want to get the message across, but we got to get back to the basic, man. I ain't went in no courtroom where there's a digital wall behind the judge telling who's up next. Have y'all?
No.
And I'm gonna say this, and I said out of my pathos. Every day there's the church got to change. Church, God, dog, nothing else is changing. Every time I go in the library, books in there, and folks quiet. I don't see no deli.
Cafe.
I ain't see no cafe in the library. Huh? No coffee shop.
They still respect it.
I ain't seen that. But Paul tell the people Corinth, he said, now look, don't you got houses to eat and drink it? Go home and have some coffee.
And I'm sure that when you go, it make it feel like you're not really there
At church?
it feel the feeling is not like you're at church that are worship
Yeah.
there for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there for entertainment. I would say, and we ain't, hey, live stream you're watching, we ain't knocking nobody. This is Bible study. We're dialoguing. And I think that's what Christ is telling us, that he said, don't make any golden image. Then he said, don't be conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. First John tells us, Jesus said, don't become friends of the world. If you become friends of the world, you become my enemy. And I know we got to get the message out. But now everybody, they want the lights, they want the stage, they want all of that. Now, if your church don't have the lights or the stage, you got nothing offers. The one thing we should have is that's the word of God. Every other entity that I have seen, I don't see them changing. I went to the library. I don't see that. I go to, what's some other place we go to? I'm in the courtroom.
It's like going to the hospital, but you feel like you're at the football game.
Yeah.
They don't meet.
I go to the hospital because I'm sick.
Right, but you don't want to get there and feel like you're at a football game.
Right. Right. Right.
Feel like you're at the hospital.
Right. And that's just where we're getting to. And maybe, and I just came up there today in my quiet time, and I can't say that that's why he done it. I don't know, but he just say, I'm no longer gonna dwell. Like he told that woman, he said, I'm not gonna dwell up there in that mountain like your father's thing. He said, you got to worship me in spirit and in truth. I'm gonna dwell in you. So what good is it for us to be in a nice building, but we still hoeing around? We're in a nice building, but we still lying. We're in a nice building, but we still drinking, we're whoremongering, we're doing everything else, but we in a nice building, on our way to hell. You have a nice funeral in a nice building. And everybody was,
It's us church.
he resting in peace. Well, he probably still would have been here if he learned how to have a Sabbath.
Wow.
We don't got to wait till we leave here to say, We rest in peace. We can have some rest now. And that's what the lesson is trying to teach us, that we can have some rest now. We don't have to wait until we put on our casket, rest in peace. So, that's when I looked at Solomon Temple, he had all that stuff in that temple. And I said, man, this to me was, I understand. We want God's house to be the best looking house. And it should be the best looking house.
That verse said on page 3, it says, because the system was designed to produce more and more surplus, there are always more need for storage units. And then it's in turn generated more needed for bricks, which is to construct them. So you think about it, the more stuff you making, the more storage unit you have in the
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it never ends.
I told you, we're consumers. America, y'all, don't y'all know we waste more than any other country? We'll throw away food just because it's one day past the expiration.
Yep.
No, I'm guilty. I do a bunch of stuff for that.
And there's somebody over there in Africa that would love to have that honey bun. There wasn't nothing really wrong with it. Now, if it's 2 or 3 months out, I could see. No, I go to the store, I get some of them teas, and they mark them down because they expired. Long as they ain't wearing out, I drink them. And I'm still here.
Got a couple of months.
Huh?
You got a couple of months.
Yeah, I got a couple months. I'm still here. But we're wasteful. And like he said last month, what was it? We want more, we eat more, we drink more. And that's all we want is more and more and more. It's like the rich fool, he had so many barns. He kept building his, I got so many. And what did Jesus tell him, y'all?
Damn.
He said, you fool. He said, you fool. He said, tonight, between sunrise and sunset, your soul gonna be required. You're gonna die. Okay? You're gonna stop breathing. Then he asked the question, then who those things gonna be? Somebody driving your car. Don't y'all know in probably another 100 years, all of us in this room will be gone.
Forgot about.
And even little Rose. We're gonna be gone. The house once you lived in, some foreigner living in it. Some land you used to own, now some foreigner owns it.
Better go get it.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so what is it to get? What is it to gain the world?
Only what you do for Christ.
Only what he tells us. Thank you, Lady Mac. He said, look, build your treasures up in heaven. Because that's where you're going. That's your final destination. That's where you're from. That's your home. Let me ask y'all this. Frank, we all went to, what last vacation y'all just went? What was it? Y'all went to, y'all been so many places.
The last one.
So said, you know.
Ain't sure been too many, Trav. You're trying to think, man.
Carolina.
Okay. So South Carolina. Would you go to South Carolina and start buying up land and start building a house and enroll Rose in school and getting cows and hogs?
No,
Why?
I don't live there.
Because you was visiting, right?
Or visiting the first second of all, I didn't like it.
Well, but right. But you're visiting.
Right.
So that wouldn't be wise for you to go into man, Jesus said, look, I don't even got a house. I'm gonna borrow it. Everything he did, Jesus was borrowing it.
Borrow.
You got some house salt I can borrow? You got some wine I can borrow?
He borrowed it too.
Matt King Carr said he was a son of a gun. He would borrow. But anyway, he said, let me borrow your tomb. Right? Peter, let me borrow your boat. He was borrowing.
He brought a little food.
Yeah, he said, little boy, give me your lunch. Let me borrow your lunch. He was borrowing because he knew I ain't here to stay. I ain't gonna keep. So they was on the mountain. I told you, they was up on the Mount Transfiguration, and Peter said, "Oh Lord, this is so good for us to be here. Let's just build 3 tabernacles: one for Moses, one for Elijah, one for you, Lord. Let's just stay up here." And Luke said, "He don't even know what he's saying." Peter, what you talking about? We got to come down. There you go. We got to come down. And so we got to get in our minds, y'all, that we're not here. So we can't be making graven image. Don't be making idols. Oh, folks like that, I ain't here to stay.
Amen.
That's what I say. What we have now, hold it loosely because this is not our home.
It's not your home.
So everything we got, pretty much, is just borrowed.
Yep.
We don't leave it.
Oh,
Right.
don't leave you.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, that philosopher, his name's in the book. Was it Karl Marx?
Yeah.
Who was a German philosopher. He was a German philosopher, y'all. And it's Karl Marx with an X. He was a philosopher. And guess what he studied? Human behavior. And Walter Burn quotes him. He said, "The modern world, Karl Marx, reflect the most deeply on the compelling power of commodity." He took his famous phrase, commodity fetishism.
Finishes.
Fetishism. I would say fetishism.
Decision.
I mean, fetish is, and that's what we want. It means what? Extravagant. It means nice. It means grand. And so most people like what? Nice, grand stuff. The more grand it is, more like it. And believe it or not, y'all might say, I'm really the kind of the opposite. Yeah. Y'all look at me strange. I am. I don't drive no Bentley, Rolls Royce. I don't even like them. I mean, I know they're nice cars. They're expensive cars. But I'm just a plain Jane. Give me a basic car. I got BMW, but it ain't the big 7. Just a basic 4 Series car. And guess what? And my wife tell you now, I don't even really like driving it no more. It's in my garage now, Frank, dirty. Am I lying, man?
Yeah. Dirty.
Because you get to a point where fetishism? Yeah, fetishism. It's not so attractive. A lot of people like it. You know, grand hats, big old hats, big this, big that. And then he talks about even Yahweh was honored by such extravagance. The temple was clearly intended to reflect honor on Solomon and on his regiment. Okay, the attention to gold object clearly, you know, he talks about. So we quite sure God was honored by all of that. But I think sometimes we can do stuff, y'all, and if it takes away the distraction from him, we bring it down. That's why Paul tells the women in Timothy, he said, tell the women no braided hair. So, Sugar Mom, you couldn't no, but he said no braided hair, no costly jewelry, right? Then now this was during worship. He said no costly jewelry, none of that stuff on. Why? Because it was a distraction. He didn't say let the women of God dress modest. Why do the women of God dress modest? Because they are confirmed that they are what? A woman of God. Let the women of God dress modest, not no little tight skirt where I see every shape. That ain't holy. The man trying to worship, but he got to look at cleavage and he got to look at hips. Yeah, I said it. We go some of these places, you can't hardly worship God. You got to say, holy, holy. You know I ain't lying. Some of them are like a fashion show. Who got the nicest dress? Who got the tightest dress? Who got? Now we know, but Paul said you dress modest. Do y'all know what modest is? What's modest, Frank?
Basically like the way I dress.
Well, you set yourself up, boy. You you set yourself up, man. I didn't even touch that one. Where y'all women? Tell me what modest is.
You're
Kind of conservative.
not fancy.
You ain't fancy.
You're
Modest at the top.
You know, I ain't saying your dress got to be past your knees and stuff. You know, we know the Pentecostals. You know, the world worse. Yeah, I said it. Although the dress long, some kind of way they have babies. But anyway, y'all know I ain't lying. Am I lying? Testify. I ain't lying. They had them long skirts on, man, but my golly, the little one on their hip. Yeah. So but what I'm saying, so Paul said, y'all took away my thought. He said, let the woman of God dress modest. That why is she dressed modest? Because she confirms that she's a woman of God. So by you dressing modest, you're saying, I'm a woman of God. Now you get home and you married, you don't got to have on pajama way down to the floor. You married.
Talk, River.
I got quiet in here. You don't got to have your grandma robe on. You roll laughing. We talking about everybody say what I do at home. But Paul says when they come to worship, and the reason he was saying that, y'all, because the men was trying, he said, I wish that men would lift up holy hands everywhere, and they couldn't lift up holy hands of God because they was distracted. Okay? They were distracted. And now y'all, church now just going all the way left. It's left. Even the preachers now tight little clothes. I don't know where these little suits come from. Now they talked about Pee Wee Herman. Now they wearing Pee Wee Herman suit. If y'all see me coming here with a little old tight pants on, okay, and they about 2 inches from my shoes, y'all just might as well say okay. Okay.
And you have to watch them, Pastor. They buy that kind of stuff for you too.
Who? For you to wear? Now I want to see you in a little you finna wear some little but anyway, but and the reason they done that is because they didn't want to take the distraction away from the Lord. Okay. So all right, so what else is on what y'all read? What did y'all give me a nugget that y'all got out the book? Because we got about it's 8:05. So give me a nugget. All right, I highlighted one. Yahweh is a Sabbath keeping God, which facts ensures that restfulness and not restlessness. So he's a Sabbath keeping God, and he wants to have rest, and he wants that to be the center of our life. Okay, and that's why it's entitled Sabbath and is resistant, because it's hard to even get a Sabbath. Okay, so if you got your paper, let's look at this in closing. And go to where is it here? All right. On page 3. And he says, commit the following practice for the coming week. What are some ways you can keep the Sabbath? so that the Sabbath keeping is less what? Anxiety driven. Okay. And make a list of activities in which you and your family normally engage on Sunday. Okay. So I'm just gonna ask for y'all real quick. We got a few minutes. What are some of y'all Sundays like? If you don't mind sharing.
Dinner.
Dinner. Anybody else?
Take a nap then.
Take a nap. Church.
Football game and
Lay down and chill.
Right.
We usually play a card game.
Card game. Okay. So we kind of see that you know some people Sundays he got make a list of activities in which you and your family normally engage on Sunday, including activities at your church, including worship service, meetings, educational program, youth activities. Also list other routine activities such as grocery shopping, cleaning. Then y'all clean on Sunday. All right. Anybody do yard work?
no sir.
Soccer games, football games,
Football game, yes.
okay, or other athletic activities, okay, in which your children are involved. Then he said, enlist media activity. Are you at home, out to church, checking all the latest on social media, all of that, you know, such as viewing sports events or other programming, social media, internet surfing. Then you want to write all this down that you do. Okay. So you might not be doing the work, but are you on the internet? Are you looking for some clothes? Are you looking for some shoes? Are you looking for this? Are you looking for some new tools to do this? Are you looking for do all that? All that is anxiety for your Sabbath. Okay. The Sabbath means that I take a break from all of that. It means I go home. So you really don't go home and cook. You should cook Saturday. Sunday, because I think most of us in here, we say we go home, we relax, we eat. Because we like a sheep. Once a sheep eat, what happens?
Sleep.
They sleep. Okay, so once you get a good meal, you're going to lay down. Okay, but we got to understand is that we don't have to go and do all these other activities. So make your list. Okay, so because next week we're going to be coming out of the Sabbath. Then he talks about, now circle those that you can identify as anxiety and inducing. Show your list to Pastor Maxwell now. Show your list to family members or a close friend, or if you are doing the study, you know, you show it to a group person. Show it to another participant. Then commit to eliminate as many activities, okay, that do not what? Provide a Sabbath. Restfulness as possible. Or at least reduce the time you spend on doing them. So if you gotta get on the internet, you gotta get on Facebook, I'm getting on for 5 minutes, I'm getting off. Okay? We're really gonna try to do this, y'all, with this Sabbath. And I know sometimes I'll go home, I'll pull my jack out, I'll get to work on the car, I'll do something. Because it is hard for me to sit down. But believe it or not, just this week, I do a morning and evening. I get up in the morning, I burn me a candle, I take 2 minutes, and I just be quiet. I just get real quiet. I take 2 minutes. You know, I may have my TV on playing little worship. If you got a TV, you can just say, hey, worship music or relax music. And I just take 2 minutes, and I'm just quiet for 2 minutes. I ain't doing nothing. And then the flesh will say, look at your phone. Go on Instagram. Go on Snow. You take those 2 minutes. You just quiet. Then I read my devotion. And I learned something today just from Jonah going to Nineveh and Tarshish. I said, woo, I probably would have never saw this as a sin if I wouldn't have got nowhere and got quiet. I said, all this time I've been studying Jonah, Lord, I didn't see that. And I wrote it down. I said, I can't wait to preach it. And then I got home today. Came home, got my shower, got ready, went in my office, closed the door, took 2 minutes, relaxed, read my evening. So I'm trying to break and get into having this Sabbath. Now the Sabbath, you're going to have to pick a day. Okay? Because it's really supposed to be a day. Okay, it ain't 2 or 3 hours. It's a day that you're going to pick. So at the end, we're going to pray. We're going to ask God to help us. So you pick that Sabbath or that day that most pastors say, that Sabbath is a Monday. Okay, I can't do that because I'm bivocational. So I'm going to have to try to squeeze somewhere a Sabbath in there. Okay. And so we all, we can do it. I promise you, we'll be blessed by it. Okay. So that's all I have. So read this. You can take it home. You got the paper. Then talking about, he gave us a prayer that we can use and can pray. But just know all that stuff interrupts your Sabbath. You may say it's harmless. I'm just on here looking at my phone. I'm here watching YouTube. But mentally, you still ain't resting. Mentally, you still not resting. And I know it's hard when you're going to, sometimes you got to take a vacation of just mentally rest, where you just go, no phone calls, no nothing. And you're just mentally taking a break and you just decluttering all of that stuff that's in your mind. You just decluttering it. Don't you know, y'all, our minds are like a computer. And and sometimes the computer, you got to do what we call a defragment. Y'all know what defragment is, right? Because it's so scattered, files is all over the place, and the computer runs what? Slow, because it's trying to grab over here. So I'll defragment, bring all these files, and start syncing it together. So sometimes that's what we got to do. We got to go and have a spiritual defragment. And let God bring everything, because we praying, and your prayers all over the place. You might start out praying for the pastor, now you're praying for a new car. But you got down, so I'm finna take a few minutes and pray for my pastor. I'm gonna pray for this person. And you find yourself what? Oh yeah, I forgot. Lord, please let that dress still be on cleanse, Lord, when I get over there. Seriously. I mean, that's just how the mind is. Yeah, you'll get distracted. Live stream, that is it. That's all we have. I pray to Chick-fil-A because I'm hungry. We pray and hope something was said that encouraged you in this study that we're doing, Sabbath and its resistance. So we thank you for tuning in with us. We're here just having fun, dialoguing, study the Word of God. And if you're wanting someone you want to learn about God and you want to just want more, we welcome you to come. Just come on. We're a friendly church. We're friendly people. We love God. We love God people. Just come on. You'll feel right at home. I promise you. And you can study with us. If you don't have a church home on Sunday, come on. Be my special guest. I got a word for you that's going to bless your soul. Bye-bye now.